Training camp is officially here. Coming up on today's show, we're going to look at the latest Browns news and rumors stemming from Berea. Matthew Peterson from the Browns Report here at Chat Sports with you guys, going over everything that's going on as the Browns have officially broke ground on the 2022 Cleveland Browns training camp, and they've got some interesting news and nuggets coming from it, so we're going to put it all together for you guys watching and deliver it nice and sweet. Now, let's start the show off with some injury news. Mary Kay tweeting out yesterday on the 26th that Denzel Ward and Jack Conklin have been placed on the PUP list. They joined David Bell on that list. Anthony Walker and Sheldon Day on the non-football injury list, which I think the best way to describe it is if anyone's here ever watched Ballers. Remember the defensive tackle got hurt doing paintball? That's kind of the non-football injury list where you got hurt, but it wasn't actually on football. You can come off that list at any time. It's not really a big deal. But let's start with Denzel Ward, right? He injured his foot, ankle, not really sure exactly what the diagnosis is, on the last day of minicamp, actually towards the end of practice, which just makes it sting, even more. But that was back June 16th. Now, the MRI came back negative since then, and then summer happened, right? Everyone went home, and we haven't really heard much from it, but here we are not playing football to start training camp. I'm not overly concerned. Zach Johnson, who covers the Browns for The Athletic, had a really good tweet I wanted to share. He said, Denzel Ward has no visible brace or wrap on his foot. He was dressed in practice gear watching his teammates go through walkthroughs. This is clearly just Denzel Ward, let's put you in bubble wrap, and we will see you in Charlotte, North Carolina, week 1, because you have earned that right, playing at a high level for a handful of years. No one's overly concerned. He doesn't need to come into camp and pick up the defense. It's picking up right where he left off from last season. There's not a new defensive coordinator or playbook being tossed his way, so it's, hey, your foot's not all the way there yet. No problem. We're just going to put you on the PUP list. Plus, this gives an opportunity for players like Martin Emerson and some other, like A.J. Green, some UDFAs, to get some extra reps and see what they're made of early on in training camp. Now, before we look at the Jack Conklin injury news, if you're looking for a reason why you should subscribe here, I've got a couple for you. One, we've got interactive videos. No one is as active in the comment section as I am. Always love chopping it up with the dog pound down below. Plus, during our live shows, which is every Thursday at 4 Eastern, you can get on screen during our live mailbag, which I think is one of the coolest features we have here at Chat Sports. Plus, we're closing in on 11,000 subscribers. So for my own selfish reasons, please help us reach that milestone. I want to get there by week 1, so make sure you subscribe down below. Now, Jack Conklin, he's recovering from that torn patella tendon. He injured week 12 in Baltimore, and it was unfortunate to see because he's had some injury struggles at times in his career, ACL tear in Tennessee, but the guy's one of the best tackles in football when he's healthy. Now, his week 1 status at this time, no one can say definitively whether he'll be playing or whether he'll be hurt. Initially, when you tore your patella tendon, which is not an easy injury to recover from, back in week 12 in November, didn't feel all that promising he would be ready to go by week 1. But if you remember, back in February, Mary Kay wrote about his recovery, saying, the Browns will thoroughly scout the top tackles at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, shout out to the Senior Bowl. But right tackle Jack Conklin is ahead of schedule in his rehab from surgery to repair his torn patella tendon and on track to start the 2022 season, his agent Drew Rosenhaus told Cleveland.com. Now, that was back in February. A lot can change, but then, way back then, there was optimism and some confidence he would be ready to go September 11th in Carolina. But let's send some guys some goodwill, get well wishes here on the show. I love when you guys show up for this portion because it's always a good reminder of why Browns fans are some of, if not the best fans in the entire league. So type their jersey number 21 for Denzel Ward and 78 for Jack Conklin down below to send some get well wishes to our guys. All right, Mary Kay also adding this in a recent write-up saying they joined, referring to Denzel Ward and Jack Conklin, they joined rookie receiver David Bell, who may have suffered a stress fracture in his foot and is expected back on the field in a couple of weeks. Ward, Conklin, and Bell can be activated at any time. All right, now I'm beginning to get a little bit more concerned because David Bell didn't end minicamp or OTAs with any sort of injury. He was one of the stars of the spring, right? Sometime this summer, he injured his foot, and that's happening, right? That happens. Players are working out in the offseason. They don't just clock out when minicamp ends and show up 30 pounds overweight to training camp. But a stress fracture. Now I'm starting to get a little bit more uneasy because training camp is crucial for rookies, right? It is very important for them to learn the playbook, get up to speed. I'm talking NFL playing speed here. This is not the Big Ten. He's not going up against Rutgers DBs now, all right? He's got to learn what it's like to play at the pro level, and training camp is very important for rookies. That's why I have zero concern if Denzel Ward doesn't play a single snap in training camp or the preseason, or maybe he can play 1 or 2 snaps. But it's Denzel Ward. He will get up to speed. David Bell, I would love to see him play, and learn the playbook and be catching balls from Brissett and Watson. Now, here's what's interesting. Over the news wire yesterday, we had a handful of signings happen. Julio Jones signed with the Buccaneers. Then you had Mohamed Sanu signed with the Dolphins. So if Andrew Berry is even slightly interested in signing a wide receiver, the market's now beginning to dry up even more, right? It wasn't that awesome beforehand. Now it's really starting to dry up. Now, Will Fuller's still a name out there. He's got the connection with Deshaun Watson from their time in Houston. T.Y. Hilton would be a nice pairing wine with Jacoby Brissett after their run together in Indy. Cole Beasley and Sanders would be nice replacements for Bell if his injury proves to be more serious, which I don't think it is, but we can't completely disregard it. And then there's DeSean Jackson, who has shown some interest in playing with the Browns, but I think he's done. I wouldn't want DeSean Jackson. The only guy I'd really be interested in here is Will Fuller and a little bit of T.Y., but coming off a neck injury, I'm kind of waiting for him to say, I'm retiring. But let me know if you think the Browns should sign a wide receiver. Do you like the current makeup of the room? Or could it use a little bit of a veteran presence to it in addition to Amari Cooper? A simple Y for yes or N for no. Now, for me, I'm not panicking over the David Bell injury or the wide receiver room. I've talked about it before on the show. Now, a stress fracture is different. I'm looking for more updates on this. But ultimately, you still got Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Anthony Schwartz, who was a third-round pick last year, who ripped Baker a new one. By the way, we're not going to talk about Baker, but he had a rough first day at training camp in Charlotte. But anywho, I'm not panicking all that much at all. All right, Deshaun Watson now. Let's get to maybe the biggest storyline so far in training camp because it's all about waiting on your hands and knees. When are we going to find out? Now, he's in attendance at training camp while he's waiting for the suspension decision to potentially come down from Sue Robinson. He also, if he is suspended, by the way, I think it's important to know, he can still participate in training camp. It'd be a regular season suspension. So he can still go through the drills and learn the Browns playbook, so he would not be banished from Berea if he is suspended during the training camp process. Now, Myles Garrett was asked about this situation. Here's what he said today at day 1 of training camp. We move as if he will be or won't be. As if he will be or won't be. You don't really keep it in your mind like that. I mean, he's on the field with us right now. He'll be working on the field with us this season, training and working out. He's going to be in the weight room, and he's going to be interacting with us. I feel like once we get to the season, it will all work itself out. Now, another interesting praise that Deshaun Watson got came from his new running back, Nick Chubb. Cameron Justice tweeted out, Nick Chubb said it feels like Deshaun Watson and Jacoby Brissett have been here for a while for how well they've learned the playbook. So they did report earlier than everyone else. They were with rookies at the start of or the end of last week. So, I mean, Deshaun Watson's been in Cleveland pretty much all summer, right? He has been spotted at guards games. He has been all over the place, and he has been busy trying to get up to speed with his new team. So shout out to him for not just saying, peace out, we'll see you in August, back when he got traded. No, he's been hands-on and very busy with the Browns. Before we get to the rest of the show, I want to tell everyone watching about Rumble. Now, if you don't know what Rumble is, it's very similar to YouTube. We post content and videos over there, and I'm a competitive guy. And here at Chat Sports, the Browns report is numero dos behind the Chiefs report. So if you want to help out and support the shows in more ways than just subscribing on YouTube, follow us at rumble.com/Browns Report, and let's be number one here at the company. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. So an interesting piece came out from the Dallas Cowboys State of the Union with Jerry Jones. I want to share this tweet with everyone. We'll keep this little segment brief, but it's kind of fun. All right, so Mike Leslie, who covers the Cowboys, tweeting out, Jerry Jones took direct aim at former Cowboys wide receiver Amari Cooper without ever saying his name. Jones said that when you make that much money, the bar is higher. Not just about performance, but also availability. Availability had everything to do with it, Jones said. What world is Grandpa Jerry living in here? Because look at Amari Cooper's time in Dallas. Since he got traded in 2018 from Vegas, or from Oakland back then, he appeared and started in all 9 games. 2019, his first true season with the Cowboys, appeared and started in all 16 games. 2020, appeared in 16, started 15. Last year, appeared in 15, started 14. Now, Amari Cooper did not get vaccinated, and that definitely was uneasy with Cowboys fans and teammates and players because it definitely prohibited his availability at times. But honestly, Jerry Jones, he's just mad. He is just mad that they shipped away Amari Cooper and his 5-year, $100 million contract so they could allocate that money to re-signing Randy Gregory, who they lost in free agency to the Cowboys because of an absolute all-time blunder of a little detail in his contract. And Randy Gregory was like, you know what, Jerry? Peace out. Enjoy your chopper. I'm going to Mile High. And now Jerry's just mad because he traded Amari Cooper away for a bag of peanuts. And what did he get? A bunch of money that they never spent in free agency. That's why Jerry's pissed off. All right, before we wrap up the show, I want to give a quick shout-out to my guy here, Rick Stainfeld. Hope I pronounced that right, Rick, because Rick said a $5 super thanks, so shout-out to you, my guy. He also chimed in by saying, Sean Jolie, I think he makes the roster out of App State. That's a UDFA signing, kind of a slot corner, which if you're a UDFA and you're trying to make the roster, a great way to do that is be at a position of need. The Browns don't have that many holes on their roster, if any, but one they might be interested in looking at is that slot corner because I think we're all banking on Greg Newsome working out that position, but nevertheless, it's not a guarantee. All right, for an honor of us reaching 10,000 subscribers here on the channel, 10 reasons why the Browns will be the AFC North champs this year. Reason number 9. Is this the best Browns roster ever? I know I'm younger and I miss the Bernie days and I miss the Jim Brown days and whatnot, but I mean, when you look at this offense to start with, Deshaun Watson, top 10 quarterback, 3-time Pro Bowler. Nick Chubb, top 3 running back, also a 3-time Pro Bowler. Amari Cooper, one of the most stable and consistent receivers the last decade or so, 4-time Pro Bowl. You got 2 of the best guards in football, in Bitonio and Teller, who are all pro players. And then on the defensive side of things, Myles Garrett, a 2-time All-Pro, one of the best, if not the best, edge rusher in the league. And what a nice complimentary guy on the other side of the line, which is Devion Clowney, a 3-time Pro Bowl defensive end as well. Denzel Ward, one of the most skyrocketing corners in the league, only 2 Pro Bowls under his belt so far in his very young career. And then you've got young guys in the wings like J.O.K. and Grant Delpit, who I think are going to make huge steps forward this year, and I couldn't even fit players like John Johnson and Kareem Hunt onto the screen. That's how loaded and talented this roster is. I think it is the best Browns roster in the history of the organization. Do I have a little bit of recency bias? Sure, but why not ride with me on that? That is reason number 9, and reason number 10 tomorrow is going to be a good one, so make sure you stay tuned for that by subscribing to the channel and never missing a Browns training camp news or rumor story when you hit that sub button.